Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to Miami Minutes. This is the podcast where we deftly take on all our enemies and then run away up the stairs a little bit to then deftly face them again. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And here, very excited to finally witness two titans going toe-to-toe. It is I, John Parker, you're the host.
This should be re-edited to put in Duel of the Fates. Like this maybe, I don't know if it comes across as this big a deal when like you're just watching the movie normally, but for us, for our purposes, like with 67 minutes in, it's like, here we go. Finally, we get in minute 67, Mark versus Jeff. It comes down to the two guys finally facing off, and I gotta say, you know, the beginning of that fight is pretty much like, yeah, this is delivering on like the potential of these two guys who really know what they're doing, just in terms of actors who know how to do martial arts and stuff as well. So
1,000%. Like, we'll talk about it more, but they both are at the top of their game.
Yeah.
And I mean, whenever I've watched it in the past, I've never felt it to this degree. But as you say, also doing it minute by minute, I'm super hyped watching this, and the film. Again, maybe because we're looking at it through a different lens, the film seems to give it the reverence it deserves.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it really does feel like this is like a climactic kind of moment, almost.
It feels like the end of the film.
yeah. It's but yeah, you know, doing things minute by minute, we'll do that. Because I remember when we did like Batman '89, and like, you know, when you watch the movie normally, when the Joker shoots Bob, it's kind of like a kind of moment when you're just casually watching it. And when we did that minute, it was like the biggest thing we'd ever covered. It was like, it's like, he's killed Bob. We've been with this guy for like 90 minutes over here. Like 90 hours of our lives spent talking about Bob. And then now he's his best friend. We were so invested in that relationship. And then, just shot him. Just got out of this year like, I'm pissed. There you go. Shot my best friend.
What? Some people might think it's altering our view in like an unrealistic way. Like, that's not how you're supposed to view the film. I would counter that by saying that kind of reaction to like the death of Bob or anything like that, that's probably closer to what the writer felt writing these things, to what the filmmakers felt going through, because they spend even longer than we do thinking about these things, talking about these things.
Although in case of Bob, I think that might have been like, because the script was being rewritten the whole time, and Bob was only there as like Jack Nicholson has his friend who just wants to be, he wants his friend to be in the movie. So I think they probably shot that and came up with the concept of him shooting Bob within the space of about like an hour of shooting that scene. Like, and it was just a real like, that'd be funny. Not realizing that like everyone would become invested in that character.
Okay, maybe for Bob. But this, for instance, I feel like YK Kim and everyone involved would have felt like, this is a big moment.
Yeah.
This is important. It's not. I don't think it's just my view being clouded by some sort of minute by minute glasses.
I think the only thing that would have added to it was if there had been some level of dialogue between them prior. Like, in many ways, it's almost like the Obi-Wan versus Anakin duel.
Oh, yeah.
Where, and the best part of that duel is the dialogue beforehand. Well, I know people, Revenge of the Sith is just one giant meme now. I realize that. But, I still get excited with the whole, I will do what I must. You will try. And then going into the fights, like, that's good. That's good banter, is what that is.
Yeah, and I even defend. I get into fights over this one all the time. I defend when he says, I hate you. Someone was saying to me, that's so shit, isn't it? That's such a cheesy line. I'm like, well, it's supposed to be a cheesy line. He's essentially a kid.
Yeah, he's a stroppy late teenager. He's supposed to be like 22 or whatever at that point, I guess. But like,
and on top of that, I felt like the delivery was really dramatic and emotional. I think that's one of his best deliveries in the movie.
I never had a problem with it, because the whole thing is that he's like a raw nerve. He's overcome. He's given in to he's given in to all his base emotions, all of the dark side stuff. So yeah, he has no tempered cool to him. He's just like, I'm angry and I hate you. Like, it's just it's just all out there, all out in the open and stuff. So it's like, I've never had a problem with the I hate you.
And like, that's the thing, which I feel like they tried to, we're off topic already, they tried to correct in the sequels, is they keep talking about the Sith being, that they're all about emotion. They're all about feeling and extremes and things like this. And you never see that in the originals. Both the Emperor and Vader are very chill. Like, obviously, they've got a lot going on inside, but outwardly, they're very relaxed. They're very slow and calm and chill. But the new ones, I felt they were like, hang on a minute. No. Kylo Ren, right? He's tapping into this raw nerve, as you say. He should be just fucking unhinged.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Because, what about it? Yeah, the Anakin had been like that the whole time. And then within the Vader suit, when he's in the suit, it's like, well, he's just dead inside at this point. So he's just like, that's why he's so seemingly calm and collected. But it's all interior. It's just like, I'm that's my secret cap. I'm always angry. But it's just more like, he's not got the like outward passion anymore, because he's just like, this is just hell. Like, my life is hell. I hate everything. Yeah. So I'm not going to go on kicking and screaming about it anymore. It's just like, oh god.
I like that. I think it does tie in though, because it's all about emotion and things. And as we're about to see, there's a lot of emotion going on through the minute.
I think there's a genuinely. It's one of those things of like, is it maybe potentially just they just got a random bit of footage, and it happens to work in this context. Or there could be a genuinely good bit of acting from YK Kim, and a silent bit of acting, because there's the moment when he's facing off with Jeff, where it almost looks like there's a little bit of fear in his eyes, and a little bit of like oh Christ, what am I in for? But we have to get past the floppy board here that's coming up, because again though, because we've been with these characters for so long, this felt like I was both laughing and also like a little worried, because Jim steps up to try to take on Jeff, and it's just like, Jim, take on this guy. But also like, oh Christ, Jeff's gonna kill this guy. It's like, if you let Jeff, even though I know what happens to Jim, like later in the movie, like I'm my memory isn't that bad. Like, I'm aware of like with the course of that character. I did a little pang of fear. It's like, no, Jeff, like, this would be like he would literally snap his spine in two. Like, Jim is no match for this guy. But the fact he comes in and he does a proper like, he
really screams.
He does a little Kermit flail. Then Jeff picks up the breakaway 2x4 that they've got around set.
That is ridiculous. Right, okay. I defend a lot of stuff in this movie, but that is the flimsiest board he hits.
Yeah. Again, this is the vibe was like, we only have the budget for one. So we can't do another take of that. Like, the board has to just look floppy. Get over it. Like, there could be floppy boards. Like, not that floppy.
I mean, they exist. I've seen them be used for things, but as a weapon, it's not going to do anything. They do it. So, yet again, I'm tying it into wrestling. You see it in wrestling when it's an independent company, like a small company. I watch like GCW, and they haven't got any money. They literally run for pennies, So instead of having proper things to hit people with and stuff, they've just got shit like this, and it's like, well, that's what we could find at the local Walmart. So that's what we use, and they can't afford tables. They always slam people through tables in wrestling. In GCW, they just get a door and prop it up on two chairs, and they're like, there you go. Slam them through the door.
I've seen that many times. I was like, what's the deal with the door? It's like the door between the two step ladders. Like, what's happening there? It's like, I didn't realize it was just like we couldn't get a table. So.
Basically, yeah, because weirdly it's cheaper, because a door, without the handles and that on, it's just a bit of wood.
Yeah.
A table, it's got all the stuff to prop it up, the metal and all. It's like,
a table serves a function, because you don't need a handle for a table. But a door without a handle, so like, well, it serves no purpose. So
except for slamming someone through.
Exactly. Now they boosted the cost of them, because they realize everyone's buying them up to slam people through them.
I bet local like hardware shops do that. They found out a wrestling company's coming to town. They're like, oh, increase the prices. But no, it's a proper wrestling move, isn't it? Like, I'm going to slam you in the back with this little floppy piece of wood. EC dub.
This always reminds me of, it's been that long since I've seen it, but the base idea stays with me, where like, isn't there an episode of The Young Ones where they're kind of breaking the fourth wall a bit, and they're talking about like, oh, do we have the breakaway chair to hit Rick with? And Vivian's like, yeah, I think this is it. And he just goes over and clatters a whole chair over Rick Mail, and he just collapses unconscious on the floor. And then later on, they're like, "Oh wait, no, that wasn't this was the breakaway chair." And the indication was that he actually hit him with a full-on chair. It's shattered all around him and stuff. And like the rest of the scene, Rick Mail is just lying unconscious in the corner.
It's genius. It's genius. Because some people probably did think at the time, like, oh, wait, hang on, was that real? People weren't as media savvy then, you know?
Yeah. You could be that maybe that, like, Jeff's so powerful that his, like, you know, the force of his blow is causing solid wood to ripple as if it was floppy. And then in no way actually strong. But
well, the power of Jeff has made, you know, what was floppy rigid.
This is actually a piece of Play-Doh that he picked up. And it's his sheer, he willed his strength through it, and it turned it into a somewhat solid object.
Close enough, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've got to give Jim his flowers, though, because, like, he doesn't stay down. Like, he bravely goes into a guy who's drastically outmatched against. Well, actually, to be fair, what he's actually doing is he's going for the stairs to get up to Tom.
Yeah, he's trying to rush up to like free him, isn't he?
Yeah. So and then Jeff appears after having dispatched Joe Jack, and then goes up, floppies him, and
hits him with his floppy.
Hits him square in the back. So even in theory, if you get hit square in the back with a thing of wood, it's gonna hurt. You know? It
could do. I think the next bit hurts more though.
Yeah, because and you know, I was saying, Jim doesn't take it lying down, gets up, and then Jeff just like whacks him off screen, like, and the way, you know, that both actors are selling it. Like, he, you know, Jeff, it seems like a powerful punch coming in, and Jim is like, it's a real like, like just, he's
the
just gone.
Screaming's great because I think it adds to his character of he like I think doing this we've realized the character isn't as good at martial arts.
Yeah,
as well as the actor. You know, the character, you don't see him doing it very much. So I think that's him just trying to sort of big himself up, like, you know, like animals they'll puff up, you know.
Yeah,
it's like
this is a guy. We can gather his plan in the last episode was to hide in a jar, and then take out people maybe unawares, and then like, maybe when everyone was distracted, he'll be the one to run up and go and free Tom.
Yeah,
not realizing that like. This is like Jar Jar Binks going up against Darth Vader. Like, it's just, you know, if Jar Jar's like, oh, I'm just going to, Misa going to go do this. And then I'll suddenly, somehow, through, like, you know, time travel-y nonsense or whatever, friggin' full tilt Darth Vader stepped out and was just like, force strangled him and threw him away. Oh. That's the level of, like, how outmatched these two guys are. But
it is. I'm trying to think of anything comparable. I suppose it's not the same. It's not. I was going to say the closest thing you get in the original Star Wars, and I don't mean this as a diss because it's one of my favorite characters of all time. I suppose it's like when Vader walks in on Han on Cloud City, and Han, you know, shoots at it, and it's like, well, there's no point.
Yeah,
I know you're great, Han, but you can't do anything.
Yeah, you're just again. Well, you got a blaster. He's already taken it off you. Like, I do remember, because I didn't watch much of Rebels, but I do remember, I think when Vader shows up first in that, there's a good bit where, like, Ezra is just like, what the hell is this coming at us? And, like, everyone's like, run, just run. And it sells the panic of, like, oh, yeah, you haven't got a chance against this guy and stuff.
Yeah, I always like that. I think it's scarier. And you get that with Jeff. Like, he dispatches these guys so easily. There's no, like, we're praising Jim, but he doesn't stand a chance. He gets smashed with the wood. He gets kicked. Then he gets punched off screen. It's like, if this fight continued, he'd be dead.
I thought the fact that like, he doesn't get in like a good blow.
No.
Like, it's not, like, they don't try to sell it on like, oh no, maybe he can face off against Jeff. It's like, no, he throws himself at him. And Jeff's just like, just bats him away, basically. Like, what? And his major concern is he knows who his competition is.
1,000%. He can see it. He can sense it. He knows.
Yeah, but Mark's already busy with Jeff Jr. He's been working. We always keep equating this movie with like Streets of Rage and stuff, but Jeff Jr. been here is a bit like, you know, when you like on Streets of Rage when you'll get like, oh, you have your standard goon and then you'll have like the same design but like a different color. You know, so instead of the punk having a pink mohawk, now he's got a green one. You
That's
know,
how you know he's tougher.
But Jeff would be like this. Jeff Jr. feels like, you know, again, another game we keep comparing this movie to. This is like, if Jeff is like Ultra Adder or whatever, then like Jeff Jr.'s Death Adder at the end of Golden Axe, where you're like, oh, he's a pretty tough boss. And you find like, no, he wasn't even the actually, no, I guess, no, Jeff Jr. would be third down, because I guess Ultra Adder would be Yoshito. So Jeff's Death Adder, this guy's like mini Death Adder, I guess, or whatever.
How many adders are there? Black Adder?
The black vegetable. No, the black. We're getting into some old school British comedy references that I don't know if we brought up the young ones. We're bringing up the series 1 of Blackadder. Like
that's the thing. I think American listeners, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're all aware of Blackadder, but I don't think you've all seen the first series. Because that was very, very different.
I got weirded out just the other week as well. This is a real tangent, but like, what did they call the movie again? I think it was called Damage.
Damn it.
But it was an early 90s erotic thriller with Miranda Richardson. Of course, the queen of... Miranda Richardson was the queen. Maybe I'm getting my Mirandas mixed up.
How many are there?
She was the queen in Blackadder too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it was... just double check. Yes. And no, it ended up in... Yeah, it was called Damage. That was it. And it was an erotic thriller with Jeremy Irons.
Oh.
And it ended up with, like, Jeremy Irons was, like, he was having an affair with Miranda Richardson, but his son also was. And at the end, like, the son throws himself out a window because he walked in on Jeremy Irons and, like, his girlfriend basically doing it. And then there's the end scene was, like, Jeremy Irons bollock naked going down, cradling his dead son and stuff. I was like...
At least put some pants on.
Yeah. But I think it's European, you know. It's early 90s erotica, and it's European. And it's just like, no, there's going to be hanging dong. Like, you know.
I don't care how distraught I am, though, right? I don't care if my son's died. I'm putting on at least some briefs.
No, I think it's Jeremy Irons is just like, he's like, I would be bollock naked the whole movie if they'd let me. But
why not? Let it out.
I have seen the many sinews of Jeremy Irons several times throughout my life. Actually, he's a guy who does get his kid off quite a bit.
See, I don't know if I have, but your word choice there is exactly what I would imagine. I imagine he's sinewy.
He is. He's very much like sickly, pale skin. Very taut over not a skeleton, but like you can really make out the musculature
lean
underneath. Yeah, and not like in a way that he's buff. It's just like no, he's just very. It's just it's as if his muscles underneath are trying to like break out of the skin, basically. Yeah,
better than me. I look like I'm made of dough.
but yeah, I was not expecting to see bollock naked Jeremy Irons cradling his dead son. At the end of that movie, but I was like, oh man, this is a lot more depressing than it was going to be. I wish I was just watching something lighthearted and fun like Miami Connection.
Well, maybe later in the movie we'll see, Jim's dad turn up and cradle him nude.
That'd be great.
He just turns up naked, no explanation.
People are just like, who the hell is this guy? Mark just goes over and just kills him too. So. I didn't realize I was his dad. Oh no! Oh no, Jim's still alive. I hope he doesn't wake up because I just killed his dad.
Again, like last week, the bloodlust took hold. He couldn't help it.
Yeah. I think the bloodlust is taking hold in this because like Mark versus Jeff Jr. They kind of get into some sword play of sorts here.
Yeah, it's like pipe on pipe, bar on bar, sword fight style.
I forgot to look up between episodes about the whole laying pipe thing.
Yeah.
But these boys are both laying pipe onto each other.
No cables to be seen, all pipe.
And I do appreciate the fact, though, they got a little bit of swordplay with Mark. And then it seems as if Jeff Jr. is going to, like, I don't know if it's just that he's, like, it's just the sort of momentum of the fight. But then he seems to sort of just make his way over to John to be like, okay, so I don't know if it's like he was trying to fight both at the same time or it was like, he was partially running away, and he's like, oh, Christ, I got this other guy now to deal with. Or if it was just like, no, I'm just kind of in a whole frenzy of sword fighting.
Yeah.
Or laying pipe. And again, now it turns out this asshole is behind the other guy. So.
Well, that's why I can't decide. Like, let's say he does it deliberately. I can't decide if that's fantastic or dumb. Because on one hand, finish the fight you're in, man. On the other hand, it almost seems to me if you think about it, maybe more realistic because they're not fighting each other one at a time like a lot of films. He's like, no, there's fucking guys everywhere. He understands I've got to move around. I've got to chop and change. Like, I can't just stand and fight because I'm going to get smacked in the back.
Yeah. No, I think it's a decent enough, like, conveying the whole thing of, like, this is a frenzy. Like, I think, like a Bruce Lee movie or something would probably then end up having, like, the two of them would be fighting, like all three of them would be fighting at the same time then. There would be a whole big, like, it's one guy, him in the middle with the two pipes fighting both of them at the same time kind of thing.
When two pipes go to war.
But I think this conveys more convincingly, like, what it would more actually be like. I'm just fighting people. It's just like, all right, I don't think I'm going to win that one. Oh, I'll have a go at this guy anyway and see what happens. I'll take care of this guy, then I'll come back for him. Maybe he knows that Jeff's over there by the stairs. He's like, well, I'm not going to take care of him right now, but, like, I can get the guy behind him. And then it's going to be Jeff versus Mark, the Royal Rumble we've all been waiting for. Yeah. Although, of course, the Royal Rumble is, in fact, it's probably the least apt metaphor.
Because that's like 30 people.
Yeah, but like finally 2 people facing off. It's a Royal Rumble. It's like that's the exact opposite of what the Royal Rumble is.
It's how the Royal Rumble ends. Anyway, it's been a Royal Rumble the whole time. I agree, though. I think you're right. Like it feels more realistic. I don't know. It adds to the tension, to the chaos, all the stuff with Jeff, and then you see this as well. It actually feels very sort of like frantic, which a lot of movies do not capture very well.
Yeah.
In fact, I know, obviously Bruce Lee, but in a lot of Bruce Lee movies, that they do still fight in one at a time.
Oh yeah.
And this is going to great lengths to pretend that they're not doing that.
I was rewatching the other day for the first time in ages, The Mask of Zorro. Antonio Banderas. The movie has aged incredibly well. Like,
I think I last watched that when it came out.
Yeah, I'd recommend going back to it. It stands up very, very well. It's just like, this is a good time. It's just full of fun. But it does have a sequence where, early days Zorro goes in and like tries to take on a whole battalion of the Spanish Californian soldiers.
Yeah,
and they all just dogpile on top of him. So it's literally a pile of people writhing around on the floor. And then you just see out the side just Zorro just like squirming his way out. And then it's like, okay, all right, that was a freebie, and just goes over.
That's genius.
Like, and I also feel that would almost be kind of a bit realistic as well. Instead of the old one-on-one fight, it's just like, everyone's just jumped on him at the same time. And then because it's just a big writhing mass of people, they don't realize it's like, he got out. Like he managed to escape throughout the whole bundle and stuff.
Then you've got the complete opposite of that, wherein like RRR.
Yeah.
Like a bundle of about 1,000 people jump on him, and he fights them off from within the pile. Like,
such a great... I think I was because of the early days. Because the guy going, it's like, I'm going to deliver this one guy across the thing.
It's like literally the opening scene, isn't it?
And then just that realization of like, oh, that's what this film is. I was like, I'm more excited about this now than I even knew when I sat down. I heard it was good. I didn't realize it was going to be this good.
I only found out the other day that the 2 main characters, with their bromance, they're based on real life people.
Oh, yeah. That was the very, obviously, very, very.
No, it's all
loosely.
Totally true. And
I believe the 2 guys are like, they're like 100 years apart or something. In actual, this is like, they wouldn't ever have known each other. They're just like 2. It'd be like doing. This is like a terrible analogy, I guess, but it'd be like doing a movie about Che Guevara and Castro been best mates or something, where it's like, well, they're not really in the same era.
No, they are best mates. That's the. Let's say Karl Marx and Che Guevara. There you go.
Karl Marx, and who's going on nowadays doing all the Karl Marx and Bernie Sanders. Same thing. They were the absolute best of friends, and someone just made a movie about like how they're insane bromance and how they beat the shit out of everyone who ever came near them. That's people haven't seen RRR. It's just and the fact is, like, about like a half an hour in, these 2 guys who don't know each other. Well, they like one of them's been obviously set up to get the other one and whatever. But like they both band together to rescue like a little girl from this insane scenario. And just the instant afterwards, they're just like, it is just that Step Brothers meme of like, are we best friends? And they're like, yes. And then and it just goes into a montage about how great of friends these guys are. And you're like, and for some reason you're like, yeah, all right,
I'm on board.
I'm
That's what I love
in.
about Indian movies. Like we have abandoned, like Miami Connection has this a bit actually, but over here we've abandoned quite a lot that sort of earnestness. You know, like now everything has to be cynical and people have to fall out and none of that in RRR. It's like no, we're best friends.
Yeah.
And not only the best friends, like they're the best of best friends.
Yeah.
Like they help get each other dates and all kinds of stuff. It's like they're bros, you know.
It seems like they literally like move in with each other.
Yeah.
Within that afternoon. And there's like, no, nothing will ever tear us apart. And then when something does temporarily tear them apart, you're like, no. And then when they get back together, you're like, yes. Thank God. The broship remains.
And somehow, despite being like over 3 hours long, having multiple music and dance sequences, it's never, ever boring.
Yeah. It really is. Miami Connection is, in many ways, a precursor to RRR, though. Just the wholesome message of friendship and all the insane action sequences and then random musical numbers thrown in. It's like, yeah, this is the same. If someone had given YK Kim the RRR budget back then... What could he have made with that, you know? He could have had, you know, Mark with an army of CGI animals tearing up the temple and stuff, you know? He could have done anything.
Holy shit, that's going to be gold. Right, okay, that is something we definitely have to do bonuses on when we're finished. I've actually written it down now, because we keep saying these things and we forget them. I've written it down.
Anywho, let's get to the you know, John seems to take care of Jeff Jr. pretty easily.
Yeah, like the initial clash, you think, oh, maybe they're matched quite well, and it's like, nah.
I think it should be the real fight. It's like, well, you know, Jeff Jr. is Jeff's second, John's Mark's second. This should be a bigger fight, you know. Again, like in The Mask of Zorro, you have Anthony Hopkins at the end fighting like the main villain because it's like it's from the beginning. It's been like, oh, that's the rivalry, and then weirdly, even though he's like the Zorro at the time, Antonio Banderas is then. He's against like the lead villain's second because that's their subplot. And it's a bit weird being like, oh, it's like they secretly did a little covert, like it's actually really the story of this old guy, but we're selling it as if it was about a sexy young guy. And then the whole main rivalry is actually between Anthony Hopkins, like this fat old man, and like this other dude. And then we're like, oh yeah, Antonio Banderas, he just gets like the secondary guy. That's his fight. So you would think that, you know, Jeff Jr. and John would be they'd have their whole little sequence. But then Jeff Jr. he's not a character, is he? Like no. He doesn't stand out even as well as like Vader or someone. Like his whole thing is that, oh yeah, he just stole Jeff's outfit. Like it's
a shame actually. He's another one who would benefit from a novelization. Expand on him a little bit. Maybe he idolizes Jeff. He wants to be Jeff, and Jeff, maybe he, you know, acknowledges his skill and his talent, but he also is a bit like, could you shut up? Could you knock it off with the Jeff love? You know?
Yeah. I think we alluded to before that he is just his, you know, Saddam double. Yeah. He's just like, maybe they're like, oh, I finally killed Jeff. It's like, no, you didn't. I'm right here, asshole. Just leaps out of nowhere. But okay, in that kind of natural matchup thing, you think it really should be like, it should be really John versus Jeff because they're the two who have legitimate beef with each other. And then it would be Mark versus Dexy, I guess, because it's like, well, Dexy's blaming, but then, yeah, Mark's not really. He isn't Dragon Sound. He's not like he's just the asshole who can't play guitar, who's pretending he can play guitar.
Can't play guitar?
It's or can play guitar with such skill that it looks as if he can't play guitar.
That's how good he is. He doesn't have to look like he's trying.
He doesn't even have to touch the strings. That's how good he is.
Plays with chi.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. If it was just a thing, like he was, like, the whole climax of it was just like, you know, they have a Victory Dragon Sound song, which is a thing that the film tragically does not have. It really should end with like Dragon Sound doing a big like "We Beat the Ninjas" song or something.
Absolutely. Why the fuck doesn't it?
Yeah, it should have a bit where like Mark comes out to the front and either starts playing with his toes or like the guitar starts floating midair, and then he just does a raging solo with his chi, you know, and then that'll be kind of like the look, kids, maybe you could, if you learned Taekwondo, maybe you could also do this. But yeah, I'm wanting the like at the end of Howard the Duck where all of a sudden Leah Thompson has written a song about Howard the Duck, and that's just it. Just ends with like, yeah, but this band's doing a big number about the title character. It should be, yeah, we should have the ending song should be called Miami Connection.
Yeah,
and it should be this big thing, a big song about the events of the movie or something. But
that would be absolute perfection. And now you've pointed it out, it's sort of ruined the end for me.
Well, again, because they were hoping it was gonna. Well, not hoping. They originally were planning it to end on a much more devastating note.
Yes.
So I don't think they were like, we can't go back and then just have a riotous, like, yay, upbeat musical number at the end.
It's like, we saved the day. We lost one of us, but it's okay.
But no, it really is a movie. There should definitely have been an ending Dragon Sound number. It is a shame. It's a shame they didn't do that. But yeah, in saying that, so you think it would be Dexy versus Mark, maybe, but then Mark doesn't have any personal beef with anybody in this. Like,
it's all personal now, Niall.
It should, but then I guess it has. Well, it almost would be like Mark should be the one nipping up to get Tom here, and then when Yoshito appears in the scene later on, that's when you get Mark in to be like, all right, here's a new superpowered guy that only I can take on, but he's got no personal stake. Like, it's personal to us, I guess, because we're invested in, like, just the actors and the characters and the whole movie. Yes. But then Mark versus Jeff is more like, hey, you beat up my friend that one time. Like, and you beat up my other friend. And now I'm going to beat up you. Rather than, like, you killed my family, Jeff, or something like that, you know. But not to take away from it, though, because then we do get down now to the not the Royal Rumble, the tag team match of the Hell in a Cell moment.
It kind of is like, oh, actually, no, wait. Let's go old school wrestling. You don't get these anymore. Back in the old days, you used to have a scaffold match.
Ooh.
It's a bit like that, isn't it? Look, they're up the scaffolding.
Well, before they get to the scaffolding, and this is the bit I thought was genuinely about, like, ooh, now it actually feels like this is mean business. Like,
yeah.
Because we talked previously about the boards with the nail in it. In previous episodes, and like, it's like a baseball bat or like a pole with nails or some kind of spikes coming out of it or whatever else going on.
Just like it's a normal thing to have access to as well.
Well, maybe it's part of like a barbed wire thing or something.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know what this thing. To be honest with you, at certain moments when Jeff's brandishing them, it kind of looks like the base of a Christmas tree, quite frankly. Like, but a fearsome Christmas tree, and. When Jeff comes in, he picks up one, and then you're like, all right, that's pretty dangerous. And then he picks up a second one, and you're like, yeah, he's coming at this guy with two friggin' big long metal things with big metal spikes sticking out of them, and he's a psycho. So it's like, all right, Mark, this you got your work cut out for you here, man. This there is a moment of legit tension,
Oh yeah, he Jeff, he is gonna try and kill Mark. But he also is talented enough to recognize the talent in Mark. So they're both kind of biding their time, aren't they? Like I said earlier, it's giving it the reverence it deserves. It's very slow. To begin, they both sort of stare at each other. There's a bit of swishing. They're drawing out the ultimate clash here. It's clever. It's good. That's good filmmaking for someone who's never made a movie.
Well, I said, in the swishing, right? So that's cool. Like, I'm not gonna belittle it in any way.
I think it's also it's not just cool. I think it's supposed to. I don't know whether this is like in real life or not, but in movie language, I think it's supposed to be you're teasing as you spin it. Well, maybe I'm going to attack you. Like,
yeah. Or it's just like, there's a bit of peacocking just to be like, showing off a skill here. So it's like Johnny Ringo and Doc Holliday, flipping the cups around and stuff on their fingers. But but there's so much intensity because Jeff's face is like, yeah, Mark's got one spikeless pole, and they do have a little bit of a sword back and forth, and then they get into the flipping. But yeah, Jeff flipping around these two insanely dangerous looking devices.
Yeah.
And then the look of intensity on his face. But he does his little flips, and then Mark does one, and it looks like there's a weird edit there. I don't know if it's just me. Or unless it's just that YK Kim is so fast. But it kind of looks like he's mid-flipping, and all of a sudden it's right in front of his face. Like it looks as if there was something cut out there, and they just edited it in to him.
Oh, I see what you mean. Hang on.
I can't tell. The thing is, though, and this isn't just, blowing smoke on YK Kim's ass. This is like, he might be genuinely that good, that he's that quick that it just looks as if it was like a lightning, like a weird edit that it got in front of his face that fast. But also, it could have been maybe, not that he messed anything up, but maybe they're like, cut this down, get to the point kind of thing. And then they just did a weird kind of slightly jarring, like, it shouldn't be that fast in front of his face, but...
Well,
I'm
going to go frame by frame, now that you've pointed it out. Hang on.
Miami frames, everybody.
Yeah, we're going to review the movie frame by frame from now on. So, frame by frame. Here we go. Whoa. Okay, no, he's just that fast.
Ah.
There's no missing frames. He's just that quick. I didn't notice it until you pointed it out. And watching it back there, it looks like an edit. But if you go frame by frame in like VLC player, no, he's just super fucking fast. Holy shit. That makes him even cooler.
So yeah, he kind of finishes his twirl, and then his hands over to the side, and then he just needs to get both of them up in front of his face, and it's just like you not even blinking, you'll miss it. It's just so like even if you're staring right at it, you'll still miss it. he's that fast.
Do you think he, as a character, he throws that in to scare Jeff at the last second, like a little, like, that's how fast I can move?
Well, if it wasn't such a serious scenario, this would be the opportunity for some kind of lighthearted peacocking. I'm just like,
a modern version would put in a little quip. It'd be that classic, who goes first? You go first.
Yeah. That was the beginning. It was kind of the beginning of that thing, but the thing to break tension in such a dire climactic kind of fight was I still love it as a moment. I haven't seen the film in so long, but like remember in Serenity, at the end, and it's like Nathan Fillion, Malcolm Reynolds, like up against Tweety Joel Ejiofor is like we call him like the agent or whoever the bad guy was. The guy, insane swordsman guy who was like insanely impressive with like he had a kind of weird samurai thing where he'd kind of make people commit seppuku and stuff.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
He'd like paralyze them and then like put his sword down in front of them so they'd be like as if they're dying by their own sword, but he's kind of making them do it. Which now years later is like that's a bit of a silly concept to be fair. But,
hey, that I like that movie a lot, but they had to really just throw everything at the wall in it. It was like this is our last shot. Let's just do it all, everything. But
there's a great bit in that last climactic fight though, where like I'll just call him the agent. I think the operative. I think he might have called him. But he's having a whole big thing where he's doing a lot of peacocking with his sword and like keeps beating the crap out of Mal, and then he does a whole big like a little thing like Mark here, where he's just like, look at now I'm getting ready for a big showdown with my sword. And then Malcolm Reynolds just comes back with a little screwdriver, like, all right, let's go. Like, this is all he's got is a screwdriver because he literally has no skills with a sword and also no weapons. So he's like, okay, let's go. But that's that kind of thing then evolved into the Marvel, the necessary quip to break the tension, which is the Miami Connection does not divulge it. It seems quite legitimately. Even though this is a ridiculous film, it's like, you can feel that these guys are going to kill each other now.
That's what's great. Like, I'm all for, like, a nice, quippy movie. Absolutely. But I don't think every movie should be like that. And we've gone too far into it now. Like, obviously, Serenity doing it's fine because, plenty of reason to hate him these days. But that was Joss Whedon's thing. Yeah. That's what he did. He introduced that. And it was fine because that was his thing. Not every movie needs it. And thank God it wasn't a thing when we had films like this, because they would have I suppose you could say Arnold Schwarzenegger helped make quippy kind of stuff popular in action. But it never seemed to spread too much to, like, infect other movies.
Well, and some of them, too, were just like, it would be after the fight he would do the quip.
Yeah.
When the tension had already been broken. Or some of them are just like films that don't kind of realize how ridiculous they are. Him facing Bennett in Commando. There's a whole bunch of little like, oh come on, Bennett, do it. Lines that are hilarious. There's like lines that are absolutely hilarious watching it, but it's just like they're treating us dead seriously though. Like they think this is like a masterpiece they're making, and Commando is a masterpiece. It's just much more ridiculous a film than I think that they realized that they were making. Just by even the fact that like, oh yeah, this guy can take on Arnie. This is his big nemesis, like Arnold Schwarzenegger versus this pudgy middle-aged man. What? And I'm supposed to believe this is a fair fight? Like, what the hell's happening here?
He doesn't need show muscles. He's got raw power.
Yeah, he is a power bottom.
Exactly. Well, he looks like he is. Yeah, I get those vibes. Yeah.
But yeah. So Jeff then also, and I love this shot. I love the shot of Jeff with the. I just want to know what these things are as well because they look so dangerous.
I know they and that shows the ability of Jeff, like the real guy, as a martial artist, right? The YK Kim trusts him with this because this fight, like some of the fights with weapons, you can tell they're holding back. They don't look like they're holding back here. No. This really feels like, again, it has that kind of like, we didn't get permits for this. We're out shooting in the junkyard and hoping nobody shows up. But also, the people handling these things that we've made, make sure it's only the best people because you could legitimately really, really hurt yourself with this. So, someone gets hit in the leg with it and they just have to dump him outside the hospital and drive away. Quick, cheese it.
But yeah, and as Jeff does his little that shot I really love of him kind of like almost like getting into position where he's holding up the two things, and then it cuts again to Mark, and it's just a very good bit of like it's a look of intense determination on his face, but also there's a little bit of fear there. There's a little bit of like, oh Christ, this could turn out to be bad. Like,
oh, absolutely. I think he knows this could be the final showdown. And that this opponent, this might be my equal.
Yeah.
Which he hasn't had at all in this movie. That nobody can even stand up to him. And now he's got someone on his level and it's like, oh, shit, okay.
It really is. It requires the Anchorman meme of like, well, that escalated quickly. In the fact that like, 3 days ago, this was just some bully on the quad who'd like shoved his friend.
That's true, actually. Yeah, think of it that way. Holy crap.
And now he's just like, oh, Christ, this guy's got two railroad spike things. And he looks like he is going like, I know I'm good, but he looks like, look at those things. If he gets one blow in with those, I'm toast. Like, this is insane.
I think even if you get hit somewhere like your leg, like, you're not going to be able to get back up.
Yeah.
You're not going to finish the fight,
He's selling tickets to the gun show. He's got, these arms exposed. So literally one blow with one of those things, and that's him down. Like, it's maybe not down and out, but it would seriously, impede his ability to go on because they're freaking monsters, those weapons.
Yeah, that's whatever the hell they are. Jesus Christ, he's got a good weapon. But it doesn't deter Mark, does it? He actually performs very well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you wouldn't expect any less from Marcus.
Yeah.
But
well, not only performs well, though, he disarms Jeff of both of these.
Again, from watching Mask of Zorro, saw a lot of this week of like little fancy sword work of like people flipping swords out of each other's hands and stuff.
Oh, they always do that in Zorro, don't they? Like, disarm them with just a little flick of the wrist.
Yeah. It was weird too. Like very early on, and his Antonio Banderas goes from like drunken asshole to fighting Anthony Hopkins. And within like the first 30 seconds of the montage, he manages to disarm him. I'm like, oh wow! I thought it was going to take him a lot longer to get to that. But
turns out I was secretly great anyway.
Yeah, it kind of made the vibe. I was like, oh, I guess he was a fighter his whole life. So, but just like they were really conveying him as being a complete buffoon there for a long time. But Jeff goes in for a good old fashioned power blow. Like he kind of crosses the two things together and goes in with one big slam. Mark manages to deflect that. And we just get a little bit of a swashbuckling here. And then, as you said, he manages to he gets one down. And then this, because I was so impressed at the start of the fight, I thought this was a bit of a shoddy edit because I had to rewind it a couple of times to get what was happening. Like, I didn't realize, I thought this was someone else. The edit's so quick, I thought this was somebody else running up the stairs. And then when it was revealed to be Jeff, I was like, wait, what happened? Like, what? He was running away. Like, but there is a split second, once the thing's knocked out of his hand, he does do a kind of like, oh, Christ, and then runs.
I think you're right. It's the edit. It's not that because you see him run off screen, but then once you cut to the next bit, he's not where he should be. He's further.
Yeah.
He's like halfway up a step already.
He's clearly realized that Mark is vastly more talented. He's like, I'll go free time myself. No, I'm just going on time. No, leave me alone.
Now, what I like about this sort of seriously is Well, first off, I don't know what Jeff's plan is as such, but we can talk about that in a minute. But I would say he's not trying to flee. He seems to me to be trying to deliberately, like, retreat a bit and limit the fighting space.
Yeah.
Because he's going up there, and you'll notice when they go up there, and they mention it in the commentary, actually, when they get up there, there's not a lot of room. So my thinking, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm overthinking it, is that he's doing that because, you're seeing that, John is coming after him as well now. Because Mark goes and grabs John and whatnot. So if he goes up there, it limits the space. He can't get jumped.
Yeah.
Because now there's two guys on him. If he's out down there with all the open space, he could get easily, like, flanked and jumped from behind and whatnot.
Yeah. No, yeah. That's good. That's good thinking. It's good thing. It's I've done it myself in video games. Where
I was
you're
going to say in real life.
Well, you were, like, outnumbered by, like, in Resident Evil or something. It's like, all right, if I can just get into a little cranny here, and then, like, I'm surrounded on all sides by wall, I'll be okay, and then I can just concentrate on this one little thing that's coming
you can,
at me.
like, funnel them, yeah.
Yeah. That might be his thing here. It's like, if there's not enough room for the two of them to attack me at the same time, then I can take care of these guys one by one, So
that's the thing. That's what whether or not that's actually part of the script or not, I don't care. That's my headcanon. I think that's what he's doing. Because why else does he go up there? Because he's clearly not trying to, like, run away.
No, I wouldn't say. No, Jeff would never run away. No.
No, I actually don't think Jeff would ever run away. I think he's the sort who's like, well, I'll rather die.
Oh, yeah. No, he will fight literally until, like, he would, Holy Grail Black Knight this. Like, 100%. He will be there clawing his way with, like, his head half gone, still clinging to Mark's ankle.
It's a flesh wound.
He could be going with, maybe he's just like, all right, I need to... Just out of sheer vindictiveness, he might be like, I'm going to go up and kill this Tom guy, just out of spite now.
It's like, could be that, yeah.
He's like, I'm making my way up there, and I'm going to either he'll go up and kill him, or he'll do a good old-fashioned, knife to the throat, like, all right, throw down your weapons or he dies. The old action movie trope. Kind of thing, so.
Yeah. That's a good point. I hadn't even considered he might be going up there for that.
Yeah. Although I do think John tries to do the old grab of the ankle, and Jeff just boots him in the head, which I enjoy quite a bit.
Which is also a drink, everybody. Hits him right in the kisser. Take a drink.
And also that you do get John's roar. Like, everyone's doing something impressive. Like, no one's matching Jim with his energies.
Oh, because his is kind of cute, isn't it?
But John's doing a pretty fearsome, like, like as he's going up the stairs. So he's outrun Mark as well. Like, I don't know if John was as closer to the steps, but like, John's the first up behind Jeff, and Mark's behind him. It's like,
that doesn't make much sense to me because Mark just went and picked up John off the floor. So it would make more sense if he was behind Mark when they go to the steps. But I don't know.
But yeah, and then they send the steps, and then we get John versus Jeff. And then we got a brief. Actually, what is happening here?
Well,
it appears you get a split second of John versus Jeff. John just kind of backs off, and then Mark comes back. He comes in swinging with the pipe.
Well, there's a reason John backs off, though, which I don't think I've ever really noticed just watching the movie normally. Well, now Jeff has a knife.
Oh, I didn't clock that.
Yeah, he's whipped out a knife, and that's why both of them are sort of, there's a tension now. They don't want to get too close. You'll see it in the last sort of 3 seconds. He's prodding at Mark.
I thought he was just doing like a really impressive, like blocking the pipe with his hands or something. I didn't really. He does have a knife. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's got a blade. I'm assuming. I mean, he looks like a guy who just carries a knife, doesn't he? He's probably got it in his boot.
Yeah. Here's a knife. Oh, I didn't even realize the Tom's right there. I thought they were like halfway up the thing.
Wait, hang on. So did I. Wait, where's Tom?
Yeah, he's literally right behind him.
Holy shit! You're right. I thought this was halfway up.
Yeah, so you pause at 50 seconds, like it's just a shot of Tom tied to the thing. So I guess, maybe he was going to have to kill him. He was going to do it.
Yeah.
I guess that knife was right beside him. He might have been like, yeah, this is my ritualistic sacrifice knife.
He's a Satanist. They forgot to mention that part in the movie.
Yeah, it could be. He was always planning to put on a big show. Like, all right, killing this guy. I was like, oh, this leave bad. No one touched my knife. All right, that's my good knife. I'm leaving it there, okay?
My knife.
He's out there, every knife.
Every knife. Oh, jeez.
Joe Jack, he's really like, what the hell is he? It's just
This
like,
has changed my whole view of this scene. Holy shit. I didn't know he
it's
was
like
there.
how so many hidden layers that should be very blatant layers in the scene of. Yeah, he has a knife. Also, the hostage is right behind him as well.
Well, I think it's one of those cases of they, we know this. They don't have a proper lighting rig.
No.
So they can't really light the scene properly, and they're filming it at night. So I think the intention is you can just see the knife, but they haven't got the means to display it. One close-up of him pulling it out of his boot would solve that, though.
Yeah. Well, that little close-up of him run up the stairs. Like, and then last week we had the little close-up of the guy getting the boot in the face. It's like, these guys know how to do establishing. Yeah. Even if they turn out a little shoddy, it's appreciated to be like, well, here's what's happening.
But then again, maybe in the next couple of seconds, it becomes really obvious he's got a knife. Yeah. Because we haven't looked ahead. We literally, we've said this before, listeners, we literally are talking about the minute we've seen.
It has a slight vibe of Matrix versus Bennett here. It really doesn't. It's like, because I think at that point then a knife suddenly appears in the middle of the scene as well.
Yeah.
It's so. But it'll be something though. Yeah, Mark goes to like let off some steam. Bennett like and throws the pipe. And he just penetrates Tom behind us. Like, oh shit! I didn't realize he was there. I was like, oh, the lighting. I couldn't see. Oh, God damn it. Tom, I'm so sorry.
That would be fucking amazing. Holy shit.
And then he's like, Mark's just like, don't worry, everybody. I'll take over lead guitar. And I'm like, no!
That's how it works. If you're partly responsible for the slaying of a guitarist, you have to replace that guitarist.
And just like every Dragon Sound song now is just Yankee Doodle Dandy because that's all Mark can play guitar. Like, oh, that's the one everyone loves anyway. It's fine. Tom's just like, I literally wrote 2 songs that were identical, so it'd be easier for people to learn the damn tunes.
And you still can't bloody do it.
Like, oh God, I'll maybe give Jim a 15-minute keyboard solo. We'll get through these gigs.
I do love this last bit though, where they're kind of, I don't know what word to use. They're kind of jiggling at each other. They're too afraid to approach. He's got a knife. He's got the pole. Oh, the tension. Who's going to do what? And like, oh, I could stab your friend. Oh, are you going to try and free your friend? Well, I could stab you.
I keep bringing it back to Star Wars. But a little bit of that. The scene that always confused me as a kid still slightly confuses me a little bit. In A New Hope, Vader versus Obi-Wan. And there's a bit where like Obi-Wan's kind of like turning off and on his lightsaber, like as if he's doing a little like a little jab kind of thing, where it's like, we're used now like lightsabers just when they're on until they're out of your hand and then they're off. But Obi-Wan's kind of there, he's got it in his hand, but he kind of turns it off and kind of keeps coming off and on. I always thought that was a little bit weird, a weird little maneuver he was doing.
I don't know, right? This is just how I read it. I've never looked this up. I always thought it was kind of broken.
He was, I remember thinking as a kid, this must be an indication that his lightsaber's on his last legs or something.
Yeah, but it could also be like living in the desert. He doesn't really use it and whatnot. He's not on form.
Yeah, I think that could also have been like a little. Maybe I turn it off. Vader will think he can get closer, and if I turn it on quickly, it might get him, kind of thing. Or
I mean, that would actually be a good tactic, and I don't know why they don't do it.
You think that'd be? If it was that it was broken, they would make more of a thing of it. Like, you'd have a bit more of a panic in Alec Guinness's face or something. But
he doesn't panic, man. He's too cool.
So, once strike me down, and I'll come back more powerful than you can possibly. You think that'd be the reason that everybody just wouldn't fight? It's like, well, if you kill me, I'm just going to come back more powerful than you can possibly imagine. So,
but remember, you're supposed to believe, at least now, that he's only the second person ever to do that. So Vader doesn't even know about it.
Yeah.
So he's like, what are you talking about, you crazy old man? Yeah.
I was like, more powerful? Why'd you just show up? Like, what do you do? Nothing.
That's a good point. Like, Obi-Wan, he can give a lot of lessons and teachings and things, but more powerful.
Yeah.
He never portrays that.
I was like, oh, you and Ashley project yourself and talk to people over long distances. Guess what I do to my son at the end of Empire Strikes Back? I'm freaking talking to him from a Star Destroyer while he's on the Millennium Falcon. Like,
and I can kill people.
Yeah.
Eat
like,
that.
Oh, Obi-Wan. Oh, it's all smoke and mirrors with that guy.
He's full of shit.
Yeah. Pete the Retailer had his number.
It called him out years ago.
But yeah. So that's all the notes I got for this minute, really.
Same here, except for the commentary track.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not disputing this, right? But Joseph Diamond calls Master Kim the greatest martial artist at that time. And then goes on to say, the greatest who ever lived.
Yeah, okay.
And who still is the greatest is Master Kim.
He's all things to all men, and maybe to one lucky gal.
Oh, well, you know. I believe from a documentary I saw, he does have a wife. So.
What's up in Boardwalk Empire? Where, like, Nucky Thompson, like, Steve Buscemi's, like, lackey, like, his butler. And he starts going on about, like, Mr. Thompson is the land and the sea, land and the sky.
Oh, yeah?
He is all the sea. He is everything there ever was and ever will be forever. And so he just comes out with this out of nowhere. And even Buscemi is giving him a look like, what the hell was that?
It's very Hitler. That's like something he would have people saying, you know?
So, like, yeah, but, or YK Kim.
Oh, wow. Like, again, I'm not disputing it because he's a fantastic martial artist. But to say the greatest who ever lived, like that's quite a claim, Joseph.
This is one of the things of, like, long-term listeners of Batman might recall during Batman and Robin. We frequently brought up the old schoolyard argument. Because that film featured Arnold Schwarzenegger. Of, like, who would win in a fight, Bruce Lee or Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
And back when you were a kid, you're like, oh, Arnie's got muscles, he could beat the crap out of Bruce Lee. And now it's just like, it's not even a competition. Like, it's Arnie's just a big show muscle guy. Bruce Lee is a qualified martial artist, he would destroy him. But had Miami Connection been more successful, you know, there would be a legitimate, like, oh, who would win in a fight? YK Kim or Bruce Lee? Because, you know, Bruce Lee is now just like the default. You know, that's like, he's like the Jimi Hendrix of martial arts, where it's like, oh, who's the greatest guitar player? Jimi Hendrix, I guess. And, oh, who's the best martial artist? Bruce Lee, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I'm sure amongst the martial arts aficionados, they might be more, I think you'll find YK Kim is actually much more, you know,
well,
defter
we agree.
in a hand. Yeah. So it's like, but you know, it's a shit. I don't know if anyone's ever had the old, like, who would win. So I know Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris were friends. I think Chuck Norris would always be like second fiddle, I guess, to Bruce Lee, really, wouldn't he? I don't think even he would claim to be better than him.
No. I mean, because that, I think what makes this a bit different, I suppose, is it's not Kim saying it.
Yeah,
because I think you're not meant to have ego, are you? About these, it's a bit like a Jedi again, you know.
It's his students saying it though, which is kind of like landing it slightly into cult territory, you know, just a little bit like how much. The fact that he seems to have his stranglehold over all the people of Orlando is like maybe they're all maybe the whole state or the whole town, maybe all Florida is a kind of polyphonic spree.
Oh my God, it's a cult.
Yeah. It seems if YK Kim is running a cult, it seems to be more in a kind of
it's a wholesome cult.
It's a movementarians-esque cult rather than like a weird sex cult. It's not like a Nexium, whereas that like the little dweeby twat was like, you know, somehow I remember the footage of that. You've seen that documentary.
Oh, yeah.
That guy, Keith Raniere, and then you see him with, like, Allison Mack. And you're like, she is gorgeous. And she's next to this guy. And it's like, how did this happen? But, like, I guess it does happen. There's this amount of time. So you just see people, like, beautiful, beautiful women with, like, trolls. And you're like, cult of personality, I guess, or whatever. Like, I saw a bit of The Holiday, the acclaimed, you know, Nora Ephron holiday film.
Oh, yeah.
At the start of that, Shannon Sossaman is with Jack Black. And I'm like, what? Like, come on. But then Jack Black is a very charming man, so, you know, sometimes they assure me that apparently personality goes a long way. I've yet to see it in my 36 years, but apparently it can.
Yeah, same here. Fuck it, I'm still waiting. I'm sure it'll happen one day. You never know. But no, I am all noted out then. Yeah,
I'm noted out too.
We should break this connection once more. Come and speak to us on all the usual, you know, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Just look us up. Can't be bothered. And why don't you go to our network, Sleepy Charlie Media, on Patreon for bonus things and TeePublic for merchandise. get. I actually don't know what new merch they have lately. I haven't looked. I think the last new thing I saw was a face mask, and who has them anymore? That's so 3 years ago.
Yeah, for a second there, I thought you had like a, like an exfoliating mask or something. I was like, what? Jesus Christ! But like, that's right, the face mask.
That would be amazing. If I can get an exfoliating mask that's got YK Kim's face printed on it, I'm gonna try and source that for you, listeners.
Or just your own face, John. You could be doing like a weird leather face, kind of like wearing your own face on your face.
Holy shit, that would be absolute gold. I'm gonna try and source it, people. Don't hold your breath, because I can't imagine that's a easy to access / affordable service. But I'll see what I can do. And yes, join us again in 1 week's time for more Miami Minutes.
Listen to me.